anyways, thank you all for attending today. This is our ACA rundown. This is that time of year where people really start to kind of think about getting started for ACA. I mean, hopefully if you're one of with a client that's of that size that you need to participate, you've already signed up to participate, just because this is a little late in the year to get going. But we do understand that sometimes it's just good to kind of get your head wrapped around what ACA is. We are by no means ACA professionals here. We do have a product that we use for our clients that need to comply with reporting and forms, but we are not legal analysts. We do not give legal advice on ACA. We do not advise clients on whether or not they're at the place to start complying. That's something we work with your broker for directly. So just a little FYI as I want to make sure as we go through this. This is for informational purposes. If you have questions that directly affect your business or in regards to your company, please do reach out. We can get you in touch with some great benefit brokers and or get your information so we can get things started. So I'll go ahead and get started here today. The Affordable Care Act. So ACA, the Affordable Care Act, despite rumors, early on this year, there were rumors swirling about the ACA is going away, it's going to be overruled, we don't have to worry about it. And we actually had a fair amount of clients that, in conversation would say, I don't have to worry, I don't have to comply, that's not for me. We're getting rid of it. Trump's going to get rid of it. Nothing has been dismantled, so we want to make sure that people are still taking this seriously and complying. The penalties, if you don't comply, they can be pretty extensive. So again, this, as much as it was rumored to be going away, it is not going away. It's still alive and well, and we are still moving forward with monitoring and reporting as we have the last several years. Again, as we've always warned, do not stop monitoring ACA on rumors alone. It's just always good practice in anything. Rumors are rumors, so make sure that they're factual before you stop doing something that could directly affect your business. Biggest change we saw in 2019 is the individual mandate penalty was removed effective January 1st of this year. So that's thanks to the 2018 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. So information on that can be found online, but that was the biggest change that we did see to things in 2019. Why does ACA, does ACA apply to? ACA requirements are based on employers' sizes and numbers of employees. So this is where it gets, brokers will start getting payroll companies involved because it does directly affect, reports. So how many employees are on reports, which again does go back to, and this is why I say, again, this is all company specific, but hours have to be reported in order for us to produce reports for clients that are accurate. So if you have 50 or more full-time equivalent employees, you're considered an FTE, and that you do have to comply. Employees that work more than 30 hours a week are defined as full-time, so keep that in mind when you're hiring as well. Healthcare must be affordable. So affordable means a plan that equates to 9.69% or less of the employee's household income for 2019. Coverage cannot be determined or deferred based on age, position, or ranking. Anything along those lines can be considered as discrimination. Great benefit brokers will get into this with clients and just make sure that they're not, kind of trying to carve things out, which when my previous life years ago was health insurance. I was big in the insurance industry. And that was something we could do back then. You could carve out plans and have management be covered, or, this group of employees at this rate, this at another. But that is discrimination, and they're very, very strict on those things right now. So it's always best practice just to make sure that you're not, you're not discriminating and handpicking those that you want to cover and those you don't. Small businesses typically do not qualify or need to follow, ACA rules. However, There are clients that are under that 50 FTE mark that are on self-insured plans, that are on trust plans, and oftentimes those do require reporting. However, the reporting forms are different than your traditional forms for those with over 50 full-time equivalent employees. So again, talk to your broker. They'll give you the best advice on which forms need to be done based on the kind of coverage that you have as a company. Who does it apply to? So we have always recommended, and again, these are just journey recommendations. If you're right on the edge of the 50, consider starting to monitor. Monitoring it, whether you use our system, whether you use another system, it's always good practice to get in and start monitoring if you are riding or hovering around that mark. This way you'll be covered the moment the requirement hits. We're not playing catch up. You're not playing catch up. It's just something that will kick in automatically. What about the cost? So everybody always asks, and I will tell you, I have seen out there costs for ACA monitors anywhere from $5,000 on the low end to $15,000-$20,000 for ACA monitoring and forms and compliance, and that's just dependent upon where you go. But a lot of times clients will think, well, that's too expensive, I'm not going to do that. And while I can understand that it is a huge cost for your business, what you have to keep in mind is that if you're not complying and you are a company that should be complying, if you get penalties or interest or penalties or fine for the not complying, the number of employees, they take everything into consideration. So we're talking upwards of $2,500 per full-time employee, penalty-wise. And I know this sounds kind of crazy, and much like some of you, I used to think there's no way they would do that. We have seen letters from our clients, from clients that we've had that didn't, kind of had some reporting go wrong for them, and so their numbers were a little skewed. But we have seen the penalties come in, and I'm not kidding when I say we've seen them as large as $80,000 for a company. So, and that's kind of the low end of what we've seen. We've seen some well over $100,000. So it is important that you take this seriously. If you kind of do hover around that mark, that's important to pay attention to. And I'm not using that as a scare tactic. That really, truly is. Unfortunately, that is something that we're seeing. Important dates for ACA in 2020. So if you don't qualify, it's good to have these dates in mind for your employees. November 1 is open enrollment. So that's when open enrollment starts. December 15th, open enrollment ends. So there is just that month and 15 days in December that you have to get signed up. After that, you still can buy a health plan if you qualify for special enrollment periods. And then January 1 of 2020 is when your coverage would begin. Important dates for employers, in 2020. January 31st is the deadline to report your forms to employees. This in the past has been pushed. We have seen it go as far as March. We have seen this date change. What we're seeing right now is that they have put it back to normal, that these dates align with W-2s as well. And typically they do. Again, if there is no change in that, then we will see those deadlines remain the same. So again, the January 31st, 2020 deadline is to get those forms to your employees. If you are filing by paper, your reporting deadline is February 28th. And if you're electronically filing and reporting those forms, your deadline is March 31st. Give yourself plenty of time. There is a lot that goes into this. You've got to make sure you're organized. You've got to make sure you double check things. You're submitting this to the IRS. Unless you want a big nastygram from them letting you know that you didn't do something right, do your due diligence. That's what they're looking for. They really, truly are not looking to just pick everybody out of a crowd and scare them. They're really just looking, are you doing your due diligence? Do what you need to do. We've had clients that have over-reported, which is kind of you would think, why would somebody over-report? The forms can be confusing. So, just again, you're doing your due diligence. They're not going to get as upset with you if you're doing your due diligence. If you're doing nothing and ignoring this, it does become a pretty big issue for them. And then what to watch for moving into 2020. These are rumored, so please, again, this is not factual. We don't have exacts for this. We're just providing you great information that we've heard so far. So one rumored change is the way that employers have to report data. The forms are rumored to become more simplified, which, yay, that's exciting for employers everywhere. But again, that's just rumored. Well, as soon as we have more specifics, we absolutely will be able to pass that information along. Cadillac tax has been delayed once again until 2020. So, that's the tax for high-cost health coverage. 40% of the coverage over the threshold is being pushed out again. So, really good information, good news. We'll keep an eye on it. It doesn't look like it'll really go into effect or hurt anything until 2020 or 2022, excuse me. But again, it's just good information to know, and we'll keep watch. So that wraps up the portion of the webinar for the information that we have. Again, it's information that to you guys, we just want this to be more a heads up. Reach out to your broker if you have questions. Reach out to us if you're unsure. Reach out to us if you're a client and you don't have a benefit broker and would like to be connected to one. This is a great time to start getting those conversations started so that we can make sure that we have the best of information going into the new year. And then obviously, first of the year is always a great time to start any sort of compliance and reporting and tracking, just because data for payroll is done automatically. So my contact information is on the screen there. Should anybody have any questions, please do feel free to reach out to me. And again, we will keep everybody posted. Those of you on this webinar today and or watching this post-webinar here, I encourage you to watch for the November webinar. We are going to be talking about important deadlines. We're going to be talking about getting information out there for year end. What do we need at Journey? What are good things to be asking CPAs for business owners? So really try to attend that one. If you can't, make note to watch any recorded webinar on it, because that is our most popular webinar of the year, I will tell you right now. So anyways, that will be in November. We will push information out, so just watch for that. I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their day and their week. We look forward to talking to you guys next month.